and welcome to Orally K, the channel that brings music and conscious education together. So on this channel, I'd like to explore various dilemmas or problems, and there are various solutions to any one problem. I've explored relationship issues where there's trust issues or lies or cheating, and whether having a monogamous relationship or a polygamous relationship is the best thing. There are lots of gray areas, and it's in those gray areas where each person can decide for themselves what they would like to do. There is a fine line, though, where if crossed over, you cross into somebody else's boundaries and somebody else's right to hold a certain viewpoint. So, for example, today's guest is going to speak about his organization, a non-profit organization which is dedicated to educating people about bullying and the harmful effects of bullying, as well as what we can do to stop this behavior, why it is so important to stop this behavior, and how this non-profit organization assists children in educating them about bullying. How do they educate the children, and what positive results do they see? And then I'd like to also explore whether they teach adults similar concepts, because bullying can be another word for racism, sexism, any kind of defamation of character can be a form of bullying. And we're going to explore what this organization does to educate people at large. We know that the light is going to prevail over the dark. As we go through life, we may encounter situations where we feel out of control, or we feel defeated and our confidence is low. And it really can take a lot of effort to lift ourselves up. But you see, that's where we actually play a huge part in the whole. I think we underestimate the power every single one of us has, and the responsibility every one of us has to be there for others, whether it's a smile, whether it is a compliment. I think we really need to take stock of what we are putting out there, how we are affecting other people, because essentially we want to be growing people, bettering people, so that everybody on this journey in life will essentially grow for the better. So let us introduce our guest and get started with the interview. I hope you enjoy it. Please, if you would like to contact our guests, any of our guests that are on the show, the details are in the description box. And if you'd like to contact me, I'll also leave my details. If you would like to feature on the show, please send me a message and let me know what your idea is so that we can explore it. And if you would like to donate towards my channel to keep it going, please do also send me a message and I can give you my PayPal details. Okay, so let's introduce our guest. Hi, Richard. Thank you for joining us today. And Richard, as I explained, has a non-profit organization, and the focus, as far as I understand it, Richard, is around bullying. And
that's correct.
Actually, to you is to explain what that means and what positive solutions, what positive things have you actually seen that have come out of what you do?
So my name is Richard Santiago. I run a nonprofit called thebullyexposed.com, and I also do a show on Instagram at the tag stop the bullying _together. And for me, all this came by accident, to be honest. With the show, at least the show live feed came by accident. It was Christmas Eve, and I wanted to do a shout out to everyone, and that I hope they kind of have a awesome Christmas and a happy New Year and all that good stuff. And the minute that I went on the live feed, I started getting questions from kids about what to do when they're being bullied, kids that were currently being bullied, and they wanted to know what to do when they go back to school. How can they deal with bullying? So I sat there and after I gave, this have a great Christmas. After I gave that, I sat there and talked to a few kids about bullying. And then I ended the live, and I got off there and I sat and I thought to myself, wow, if that continues every day, I can come on here and answer questions, and that could be a way that I can help with kids and adults with bullying. Because sometimes parents come on too. My kid's too embarrassed to talk about it, and the parent will come on and say, I want to know what can I do to help my son or daughter about bullying. So yes, I do get children, adults, and I get adults in another aspect of they themselves are being bullied. Because a lot of people don't know, yes, bullies can be found in the workplace, and they are there. I think I'm currently working on a film called When Bullies Become Bosses, and I think that's what happens. You have your bully in school, no one's ever checked him on his attitude, so now he becomes a bully in the workplace. But it's not only that. There are some companies that I'm learning throughout the world. When I first started this about, what is it now? Wow, 12, 15 years now. When I first started this, I thought it was just America's problem. But I'm noticing that it's everywhere. Italy, I've met people from Italy, and that, South America, South Africa, and all over the world, Japan, all over. So this is everyone's problem. And I think that there are some companies, I won't speak for companies outside of the US, I will speak for companies inside of the US. There are companies that feel that if you bully your workers, they will work harder because they're afraid of losing their jobs. There was a company that in America that used to take the best worker and fire them, to send a message that to all the workers that, wow, if that person got fired and they were the best at the job, anybody can get fired. And now people start to live in fear. But that really does not work, because I can tell you that it doesn't work, because what ends up happening is the workers really have animosity towards the business, and they start to wreck it in a very quiet way. That's, to me, is what happens. They start to tear it down, the company down from inside in a very quiet way. So that does not work at all. But yes, I have talked to adults. And for me, a lot of people ask me, why'd you get into this? I used to work with the United States Postal Service in America, and they're a very abusive organization. And at first I was terminated for something that it should have never been terminated. I recorded my bosses bullying me, and I was terminated for that, but I should have not been terminated. And then I fought it, and we agreed to not give me my job back, but they agreed that it will go from a termination to a volunteer fire, which is not good, because it's something I should have never it should have never happened. But you're fighting this organization that has, what they were doing is they would bring a supervisor to bully me or to harass me. It's actually harassment, to harass me when I filed grievances or made enough of a complaint about it. Then they would move him or her to another location and then bring in another one. So it was a constant fight for me. So and I was weighing on my health. It was weighing on my family. It was weighing on everything that we use to survive as human beings, So I guess in a small roundabout way, that's why I just said, you know what, fine. You want to go from a fire to a volunteer quit. I voluntarily quit, fine. Because you're just so overwhelmed, and you got to take care of your health. I always say that on my show. I think that the first thing that starts to go when you are bullied is your health. So if you take care of that, you're able to, last a little longer in that game. If should you choose to fight, like I did. But to anyone that's listening, if you have a job like you're working in McDonald's, they have McDonald's. I think they have McDonald's in South Africa, right? I can say McDonald's. You got a job like McDonald's, just quit and find another one. But if the job is worth fighting, fight for it, but take care of yourself.
So then, thank you for sharing that story, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but it gives me a good insight into what gave you that passion for helping other people. So from being voluntarily dismissed, how did you go from there to opening up your nonprofit? How was that leap made?
Good question. Well, even while I was working as I'm a hard worker. Most of the time when someone's bullied in the workplace, it's because they're a good worker or they're a hard worker. That's for sure. So I've always been a person that had two jobs, no matter what I did. So I did graphic design while I was working for the Postal Service, and I did filmmaking. So what I decided was, when I finally left the United States Postal Service, was I was going to create a film. That's the film I talked about earlier, When Bullies Become Bosses, about my experience, about the experience of others. Because I can tell you right now, just to kind of sidetrack, you can do a search for postal workers that have been terminated unjustly. Like maybe put a blog out there looking for these people. You will find a bunch, because there have been a lot. So I searched for those people, and I started to tell their story. But funding was a little hard to get. So that's when I created the nonprofit, to kind of get the funding that it takes to create a film. Because I think you're in the entertainment business. I looked at your Instagram. You're definitely in the entertainment business. You know how much it costs if you want to make a music video or any kind of video, how much that costs. It's expensive. And so that's why I started the nonprofit, for that reason, to get donations to finish the film. And I have finished other films with donations. I currently have a film, I guess I should tell. I currently have a film called Dear Bully. It's about my friend Jason, who unfortunately was bullied. He was a nurse, and he was unfortunately bullied, and he committed suicide on his birthday. So, if you reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you later on and share the link with you and give you a promotional link so you can see the video. But yeah, so I have finished some videos. I make little teaching videos also that I post on my Instagram channel. Again, it's at Stop the Bullying _together. But you can do a search for The Bully Exposed, and everything on Google, and everything comes up. Our Twitter, everything comes up. So that's probably the best way to find us. But yeah, that's what started the nonprofit.
Okay, I'm getting a better picture now. So you have your daily or weekly or whatever it is, your actual you post videos or little clips on your Instagram. You also have chats on your Instagram. I was actually in one of those chats, so I saw what that was about. Great, because then you have conversations and you have back and forth, live on
right.
Real things happening, real comments. And so you have that going. So you have your nonprofit, which is essentially to generate funds that you can create or finish the movie that is about bullying, that is intended to help people understand it. With that comes your Instagram, your Twitter, and all the videos and educational posts that you put out.
Yeah. I guess I should say yes. So every day we put an inspirational post up every day on our Instagram. Sometimes they're connected to our Facebook and our Twitter as well. So if you're a person that likes Twitter more than Instagram, you can follow us there, and every day you'll get inspirational posts there. And then I try to every day do a live feed every day, and I'll either have people pick the topic, or I'll pick the topic based on questions that I get from people. Me and my team of graphic designers will come up and create, and then we try to do the live feed every day. So if someone has a question, just write it in any of our comments section on our Instagram, and I or two other folks that help me will get it to me, and then we'll sometimes, if we can, we sit down on a video chat, because one person that helps me is in Hawaii. So we'll sit down on a video chat and we'll ask what's the best way. Usually what I also try to do is I always try to make friends with psychologists. I try to make friends with, sometimes I do things about diet. So I'll try to make friends with dietitians in my area. When I lived in Guam, I had a friend that was a dietitian, and I would just, if someone asked me a question, I would shoot it over to them, and then he would tell me, and I would just kind of re-say the things that the show is for our followers. So please, we urge that you ask us your questions and reach out to us somehow. Instagram right now is the best way to reach me, or email. And you can get my email address from going to the bullyexposed.com website, and then click on contact, and all those emails comes directly to me.
All right, so thank you. What I'm understanding then is that you're actually being a counselor to these people. I'm hearing that you have a team of people that you've made, psychologists and other people who, dietitians and people who are experts in the holistic take on how to rectify, someone's self-esteem, or to actually,
Right.
or what to do in a situation. So it's actually you that's giving people advice. So I mean, can you give us an example? I mean, you did already. Let's say a child comes to you and says, like you said, that someone said to you, what do they do when they go back to school? What kinds of advice would you be giving them?
Well, the first thing that I always try to say on my show is that I'm not a professional, so please seek the help of a professional before doing any of the things I tell you, or speak to your parents. If I'm speaking to a child, I say, tell them to speak to but what I try to do most of the time when people ask me a question and I'm unable to speak to a professional about it, I will speak from the heart. I would definitely speak for the heart, because in a way, I survived bullying, and I didn't end up like a statistic. I didn't commit suicide, so I survived it, and because I survived it, I think that makes me somewhat an expert in the field. That's how I feel, with the disclaimer that speak to your parents or a professional. So I always try my best to speak from the heart, and I'll always, if someone tells me a specific subject, like you just said, and I know that, well, when I interviewed John for my film, he said this. When I interviewed Mike for my show, he said this, and this is how I feel. So I'll give them those three examples. I'll tell them, this is what I did, this is what Mike did, this is what John did. And then, because bullying is not one size fits all. What might work for you will not work for me. What might work for me may not work for the next person. So I always try to give as many examples as I remember right off the bat. And it was really funny, because when I first started the show, it was really hard to come up with things, to remember the things and to answer the questions. But now that I've been doing it, 2 years now, the show, 2 or 2.5 years now, these kind of things pop up, these little stories that I forgot from almost 12, 15 years ago will pop up in my head. Believe me, I've interviewed a lot of people, because I was really fascinated by this, because like I said, I thought this was just an American problem. I figured that a town like Italy, let's just say, everyone's pretty much Italian. You know, you got people from other walks of life. I've seen Asians here. I've seen Africans here. But for the most part, they're Italian. So I wouldn't think, you know, people, because I thought, because to me, when it comes to America, at least, I will speak only of America, bullying is to me a form of racism. You can't say to someone, I don't like you because of the color of your skin, or I don't like you because you're a woman, or because of your religion. You can't do that in America. So they use a different way of saying, I don't like you because you're a woman, or I don't like you because, you know, your God or whatever. So they use it in a form of bullying, in my opinion. Not all bullying, but some of it. But and then I've learned that it is a you know, worldwide. It is worldwide. Most of the time, it's that person is just not happy with themselves, so they make other people feel unhappy rather than getting the help they need. And that's society's fault, because, you know, for if you go see a psychiatrist, people think you're crazy. Oh, you're nuts. You must be nuts. You went to see a psychiatrist. No, you know, like I can remember, just to kind of sidetrack, I can remember um, when I was being bullied, I said, I need some, you know, I work out, I go to the gym, I work out, but I don't work this out. So I need someone to help me work this out. So I started seeing a psychiatrist, and somehow, some way, my supervisor informed my fellow employees, and they found out, and right away they said, oh, you're crazy. You know, so it's the stigma. And I think that stigma is what keeps bullies from seeking help, because, well, if I seek help, I'm considered weak. You know, like if a man cries, he's considered weak. You know, that kind of situation. So people don't go, and then they start to bully. But and then, like I said, just to sidetrack, it's also that those companies, and like I said, I don't know if it's in other countries, but I know in America it is those companies that feel that keep them scared and they'll work better, but they won't. Happier employees work better.
Two questions came up while you were speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Was about so just on. I want to talk about the children again, but I'll just finish with the adults first. In terms of workplace bullying and the person who is the bully, do you find that in your interactions with people and in helping them via chatting to them and them telling you their problems, and have you ever had a situation where you speak to the bully, him or herself, and do you find that there are any success rates in them changing their behavior?
Very good question. Well, when it comes to speaking with bullies, I have never, ever spoke to a bully, ever, because they're weak and I mean, I don't know if they're afraid. I wouldn't say they're afraid, but they know what they're doing is so wrong that they're not going to try and come on a camera and justify their behavior. But I have talked to people who were bullied, decided that if I'm the bully, I can't be bullied. So they bullied, and then realized that that wasn't right, and then stopped. And they were brave enough to come on and say, you know, I did that. But that's what life, society overall is showing these people, that if you're the target, how do you not become the target? You become the weapon. And it's sad that people think like that, but they do. The only time that I ever see people face to face in person is when I'm actually interviewing them for a film I might be making, or a short or a commercial that I might be making. That's the only time I really had face to face interaction. All of it seems to be over the internet. And I want to add that, you know, we're probably not the first people to do it, but we've been doing, you know, stuff through the internet before the COVID happened. We were doing that too. That film that I told you about, Dear Bully, that was all created by interviewing people through Zoom and through the internet, because one person was in Boston, another person was in where is that, Cape Cod. One person was in Cape Cod, living in Cape Cod, and the other person was in Australia. So the three women that I interviewed for that film about Jason. One was the mother of Jason, and then the other two were people who were bullied, giving their point of view. So, yeah, unfortunately, I would love to do things face to face and have like a powwow with people sitting around. That would be great. But no, most of it is through the internet.
I would like you to give people advice in general about bullying, because we've been talking about what you do and a few examples, but if you can speak about, define what is bullying and why is it bad? What is wrong with it? And what can you do to overcome it?
So bullying is repeated health-harming acts on one or two or a group of particular people. That's what bullying is. When it comes to advice, my advice is to always never show your bully that you're on to them. That's me, you know. But one thing that's definite advice that I always give to people is you're gonna have your bully. Your bully's gonna try to recruit what could be your friends or what could be people that really don't know who you are to dislike you. That's how it all works. So there's this group of people versus you. So you feel alone. Stay positive. And I know that's difficult. I know, because if he's recruited your friends, you got all these people saying ridiculous things to you. But you gotta stay positive. And because by staying positive, you're not alienating those people that he or she has recruited to bully with you. And that's important, because sometimes some people will laugh with a bully, but they really don't want to laugh. You know, they want to help, but if they help, they become targets themselves. Now, some people are able to say, like me, "Oh, you want to make me a target? Come on, make me a target. I welcome it." You know, some people are not able to do that. But so when you start to alienate those people, you know, by let me give you an example of alienate. So okay, so one time when I was being bullied by my supervisor, what my supervisor did was he wanted to write me up for get this, for going 1 mile over the speed limit. Because, you know, as postal workers, some of you may not know, we have to drive from house to house to deliver mail. He alleged, he couldn't prove it, of course, so it's not true, that I was speeding, okay? When he couldn't prove that I was speeding, then that's when he just said, you were going 1 mile over the speed limit. A police officer, I think in any country you go to, will not pull you over for going 1 mile over the speed limit. But this is what they try to write me up. And it's a funny situation too. This is how the bullying, to give you guys an idea how bullying works. That was my first time being reprimanded for speeding. And so, you know, in a job, when you do something wrong the first time, you get a talking to. Hey, don't speed. And maybe you might have to sign something that says that your boss talked to you, right? That's a normal situation. Then if you get caught speeding again, then you'll probably receive a written warning. Okay, here's your written warning that you were speeding. Then if you get caught speeding again, you will probably get a suspension. Let's just say a 2-day suspension. Here's your 2-day suspension because we've talked to you about speeding. We wrote you up about speeding, and now we caught you speeding again. That's a normal situation on a normal job. These people went for suspension. I was in an office to figure out whether I was going to be suspended for going 1 mile over the speed limit for a first offense. Just to give you guys an idea of what bullying is. So if that's happening to you on a job site, it doesn't have to be speeding, anything. You're late and you're being suspended for being late once, you are being harassed in the workplace. So rather than that boss who wanted to write me up do it, he went and got another supervisor to write me up. You know, kind of like I'm not doing anything to him. You know, they're the ones that wrote him up. That's the kind of thing these types of supervisors do. I'm in the clear, you know. So when we were sitting in the office, the supervisor actually saw me. I'm sorry that I have to do this. That's how we started the conversation. I'm sorry I have to do this, but as you know, I'm given a direct order to suspend you for going 1 mile over the speed limit. And if I don't do it, I'm going to start getting harassed. So I have to do it. Now, this is where it comes in. This is where you don't alienate the person. So I could have got up, because the first thing that came to my mind, I'll tell you guys, first thing that came to my mind was to call him a jellyfish. Spineless jellyfish is what came to mind. You spineless jellyfish. You could easily just say, stand up and say, no, this is wrong. I'm not going to do it. But you didn't. I could have easily done that. Now, if I do that, now he starts to dislike me because I said that. You know, even though I'm justified for saying that, he's still going to dislike me. So that's what I call alienating, you know, the people that your bully might recruit to bully you as well. So what you do is just bite your tongue. You don't say anything negative to them, and you keep it professional. But, you know, whether you're in school or whether you're in the job, it's still a professional setting. You should keep it professional. So I'm glad that I bit my tongue and I didn't say anything. So I let it go. And it just so happened that the supervisor on another incident, not on that incident, the supervisor told him, whatever you want to do with this, if you want to write them up, go write them up. If you don't want to write them up, just let it go. And he, of course, let it go. But if I had cursed him out or said something to him mean, he would have had resentment for me, and he would have continued to be the bully. So that's one of the main things I give to everybody. Don't, you know, if you're a type of person, like I met kids and parents that don't want to be nice to their bully. Don't be nice to your bully. Don't. I don't suggest it, but definitely be nice to the people he's recruiting, because a lot of those people don't want to do it, and they're forced by society. And the other advice that I give that you can, for this one's for kids, and I guess it could work in the workplace as well. If you're coming to lunch, if you have a cafeteria type of situation, and you look around the room, you'll see a pack of kids, you know, sitting with kids, and you see a kid sitting alone. Go and make friends with that person, because in an adult, I don't know if it works again in the adult setting. I'd be curious to know. But in a school setting, kids that hang with 3 or more are more likely not to get bullied. So if you're by yourself, you're going to get bullied. If it's 2 people, chances are you'll get bullied. If it's 3, 4, 5 of you, you're most likely not going to get bullied. So you walk around, if you're new in the school or whatever, or you're being bullied, you walk around, you find that person sitting by themselves. Say, hey, can I sit here with you? Hey, my name is Richard. How are you? You know, and make friends with that person. Then you'll see a person walking alone, looking for a table by himself. Ask him to join you. Now you got 3. Now you're upping your chances of not being bullied, the percentages of not being bullied. And I think that will work in a job setting as well. But that's the advice. Those are 2 things that I always give parents and kids when it comes to bullying.
Thank you for that advice. I think that's really great advice, especially for children. I think that works, but also adults in any situation, as you said, can also work. And for me, what came across when you were explaining this is to stand in your truth and to not give in. So don't think that you're lesser. Don't think that you are, you know, what the bully is proposing that you are, you know, because the bully is trying to break you down, and you have to really believe in yourself and not give in, not show that you are weakened at all by this person, and go to, if there's a headmaster or teacher, or if it's in a work scenario, go to people that you think you can trust with the information. If there are those people. If there aren't, then, as you say, find people who you can join forces with, in a sense, and that will present visually to the person or the people that you actually have a team of your own. So I think that is great advice just off the cuff. I know there's a lot more that goes into it. As you say, each situation is different.
That people are going to tell you, like you say, you're not good enough. And that hurts. But one of the most important things that we have to remember is what we tell ourselves. That does more damage. Forget that someone can tell me all the time that what you're doing is a waste of time. I've been told that. But if I think it and I tell that to myself, that's like 1,000 times more damaging than what people tell us. So yes, you're right. Keep that positive thought. Keep that positive thought. Keep looking up. Don't look down. I see a lot of kids, they're always looking down when they walk. Don't look down when you walk. Look up. You don't have to look above, because then that's snooty, right? This is snooty. This is confidence. This is lack of confidence. And, we have to show people we're confident, because when we show people we're confident, we are not bullied.
There was something else I wanted to ask you, and that was about your film. You are busy with the feature film, which is in development or in production. Oh, yeah. But there is another one you spoke of, and you said you'd send me the link to watch. But why is it not available for the public?
Oh, no, it is. You just have to purchase it. So as a person of the media, I'll give you a media. Actually, I guess I should have called it a media link, where you can watch it for free. So you can watch it for free.
So you can talk about. Yeah, I can watch it. Then I can even, say what I thought about it and promote it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yes.
Is there anything else you want to add to our conversation that's going to?
Yeah. So again, we're basically a nonprofit. We depend heavily on donations, and since COVID, the donations have been, I'll just say that they've been less than perfect. Let's say that. So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm wearing not this style. This style we've already sold out. But we have these Be Kind T-shirts. For those of you, some people don't like to give donations. Some people like something back in return. So if you're a person that likes something back in return, and there's nothing wrong with that, we have Be Kind T-shirts at the bullyexposed.com that you can purchase. And 100%. I love to say this because I know there's super big nonprofits out there, and I found out from doing research that only like 30% of the actual money goes to actually whatever the company does. I'm going to tell you right now, 100% of the proceeds goes back to the bullyexposed.com to create films. I don't get any of it. The two people that help me with my Instagram account, they don't get any of it. It's all volunteer work. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So that means that if anyone like a famous celebrity I think it only works in America, but if any American celebrities are listening, you can come, you can volunteer yourself for us. We'll give you the code, and you can take, not a code, I'm sorry, not a correct choice of words. We'll give you our number so that when you do your taxes, you can say, I volunteered this much of time. So that's the good thing about being a 501c nonprofit. Not any profit can say that. So yeah, you can write it off on taxes for all you American viewers. I don't know how many American viewers you have. I want to thank you too. I want to say this on your show. You were our first South African follower.
I spoke to somebody about narcissism, about boundaries, and it's all kind of interlinked. There's different words that you can use for the same kind of thing. Obviously, different situations, but it comes down to treating someone badly or treating someone well, and that kind of thing. So anyway, I would just like to say thank you so much, Richard.
And thank you for having me.
Awesome. And I wish you the best of luck with your film. And also I will give a review of your other short film, is it?
And yes. Okay, awesome.
So as soon as I've watched it, as soon as I get a coupon, I'll watch it and I'll give a review as well. I'll probably do that on my Instagram, because then it's probably much more accessible to my followers.
I wear a crown, okay? I don't have the crown now because it's packed away somewhere. But I wear a crown, and the crown is a symbol of bullying. Because let me tell you this real quickly. So someone came on the show and started, on our live show, and started trolling us. And he said that that I'm full of myself, because I come up here. I'm a person who has confidence, and rather than say, "Wow, that person has confidence," he said, "I'm full of myself." So I just went to a party, a costume party, where me and my wife dressed up as prom king and queen. So I had the crown on my desk when I was doing the interview, and I put the crown on my head, and I said, how about now? Am I full of myself now? So the crown became a symbol for our followers to understand that they have to stand up to the bully. So at the end of my show, I always say, anyone can wear the crown, anyone can be a hero. Be kind to one another and have a great day. So I'll give you the sample again, and maybe you could use that for your ending if you want. But so anyone can wear the crown, guys. Anyone can be a hero. Be kind to one another and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. And there you have it.